Hi everyone, welcome back. So this next set of videos in the Girlboss Functional Planning series is going to be on getting from goals to done. I'm going to be walking through taking your set goals and breaking them down into projects. And then the next video is going to be on breaking those projects into tasks. And then that final video will be on habits versus projects and tasks. So when you want to develop a habit versus when you want to put it down on your to-do list and track it as something that needs to be done and then it's finished. That being said, the next 3 videos will be me showing you how I'm tracking my goals to projects to tasks, and also how I am setting up habits to support the goals that I would like to accomplish. So you'll be seeing me take my actual goals and breaking them down and getting them ready to go for 2018. So I will turn the camera around and we will get started. Alright, so the paper on the right here should look familiar to you, and I am going to apologize for kind of the funky light. I'm filming in a different location because I didn't get all my filming wrapped up before a company came into town, so setting up and doing the best I can, but you'll see some shadows. Anyway, this list here on the right is my goal list. Again, still in my rough draft stage. You'll notice I have them numbered off to the side, getting closer to a healthy weight, restructuring the onboarding process at work. I decided that 5,000 subscribers was a good number, finishing our kitchen renovation, and then completing the liturgical year Bible study. So those are the 5 goals that I'm going to run with right now. What we're doing is we are taking these goals and breaking them down into projects. Just looking at these are probably something that are a little bit too big picture to be like, yep, I'm done. And that being said, as I'm looking at the complete liturgical year Bible study, this may or may not continue to be a goal that makes it onto the goal list. It is something I want to do, but I don't know. We'll have to see how these all break down. So let's start with number 1. So get closer to a healthy body weight. Now, this was one of my goals last year, so I have already broken this down. So I'm actually going to continue on the same track that I had last year. So this works out to 2 pounds per month. This is my project, and it's going to be a repeating project. So every single month, I'm going to want to lose another 2 pounds. Like I said, this one's easy because I did this last year. Goal number 2, restructure the onboarding process. Now, this is something I have already fleshed out a little bit when I was doing some brainstorming. I would show that to you, but I don't have it available. So what I'm going to do is pull it out of OmniFocus, which is where I had written down some of my ideas. When we're breaking things down into projects, there's many different ways you can look at these. So there's kind of 3 main areas. So we have pre-hire, day of hire, and post-hire. Really and truly, all 3 of these are part of the onboarding process, because you do, once you've made the decision to hire somebody, you do want to go ahead and start onboarding them immediately, because how you treat them, how you handle things, that all influences their impression of your company. Ideas that I had for projects for pre-hire are the job posting, interview, the application, and this could be both the actual paper application but also the process by which they apply to our company. If they're doing it on paper in our office, how they're being treated, and kind of what that experience is like. We have a screening form that they have to fill out. They have to go through background screening. So what does that process look like? What information are we giving them? How are we walking them through that process? So it's somewhat a part of background screening, but we also send them a drug and alcohol screening, and that's actually done by a separate company, so I actually put these as separate items. And then I had some ideas that I had jotted down at the time. So making some forms electronic, complete ahead. These are all things we needed to make decisions. Scheduling the first day, like actually having a schedule for them so they know what to expect. And then we need to look at all of our setup. So that's their computer, their desk, email, program access. So it's all of these things. So you can see this is just one section of 3. That's why this is an annual goal. This is going to be a very large project. So day of hire. We have new hire paperwork. Intro to the office, so important things like where bathrooms are, whose office is where, introducing them to everybody. We usually have them introduced a little bit as part of the pre-hire process, but sometimes it's nice to have a reminder. We have to hand out manuals. Needing to figure out if there's a way to do that electronically, because that's a lot of paper, let me tell you. Do we want to do a welcome card / gift? And then we want to introduce them to our company culture. So whatever we decide that might look like. It might be videos that we put together that they can watch, so they get an idea of what it's like to work with us. It might be some sort of shadowing with a specific employee. So these are all very rough projects of things that I may or may not actually end up doing, but it gives me an idea of where I want to go. All right, so post-hire, we have classes they need to take. There's training they need to go through. So that would be their job training, fair housing training, our accounting software / management software we use, and then any other software programs they might use. So there's also some opportunity to continue introducing them to our culture, and then that's what I had for post-hire. So this is after their first day as we're getting them integrated into our company. Now again, not all of these are things that I will be responsible for, so this is a bit of a company-wide project, but I'm going to be overseeing it and then potentially delegating some of these projects out. So the other thing we have to consider is we have different types of employees. So we have full-time employees, we have part-time employees, and then we have temp and temp to hire. So if we have somebody either on a temporary basis or we're using them as a temporary employee with the possibility of hiring them, we do still want to onboard them on their first day, especially if they're a temp to hire. We still want to make them feel welcome and not like they're this temporary fixture in our company, but we also have to manage expectations so they understand they're not actually our employee at that time. So these are other things that we're going to have to evaluate, like what parts of this is for each different person, because the temporary person is still going to need to know where the bathroom are, who they're talking to, who to see for what. So they're still going to need some sort of basic introduction. We're still going to have a workstation set up for them, that sort of thing. That's where this stands right now for this project. And again, I'd started thinking about working on it this year, didn't get around to it, so I pushed it off to next year, which is why I had a lot of this fleshed out. So my next goal is to get my YouTube channel to 5,000 subscribers. So I had previously had posting one video a week. And you'll remember I mentioned that that was more of a project than an actual goal, because that was a means to getting to an end. So I went ahead and wrote that here, posting one video a week, putting together a series like this one so that there's a constant kind of stream of content that you guys are interested in. Which, speaking of, if there's anything you're interested in me doing a video on, please put it down in the comments below, because I am interested in making videos about things that you're interested in watching. So please let me know, even if it's not this video, as you go along the way, if I've talked about something and you want more of an explanation, let me know what that might be. That being said, I have had some requests for how I put together lists, and you would basically be watching me watch other people's YouTube videos and jot notes. That's pretty much what I do, especially for my weekly review lists and like my cleaning lists, which came from Fly Lady. So keep in mind that it's harder for me to do those videos because basically it's me taking in a bunch of content and then distilling down what's useful to me. So I'm happy to point you in the directions where I got the information, but because my life is not your life, I want to make sure that you understand. Please, take any ideas that you have and modify that to fit you. All right, number 4, I have that as to complete the liturgical year Bible study. I'm not sure about that. I'm going to hold off. So we'll come here to finish the kitchen renovation. So I know that that's and reinstalling the window sill and trim. There is a sill, but it's somewhat of a temporary one. That one we'll need to pull out and redo, but we don't have trim on most of that window. And then installing a backsplash. I have the tile picked out. All I literally need to do is go buy the tile and then have it installed. But when we got to the point where we're at right now, I was so tired of my kitchen being torn up. I said, that's it. Let's wait. That was 2 years ago, so now I'm mentally prepared to start this project again. So I think what I am going to do is this completing liturgical Bible study. For me, that is supported by a habit, just one, and so it's not something to break down like this restructuring the onboarding process. So for me, I don't think this is complicated enough to be a goal. I think this on its own is more of a project. So I think I am going to go ahead and pull back in this improving communications to reduce complaints. That's another work goal. I think before before I had dismissed it because I thought it was more of a company-wide thing, but I think since I'm the person in charge of policies and procedures for my company, that I can be the one to create those policies and procedures to set that into place and then monitor the results. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that back in. And you probably have read SMART goals and talking about things needed to be worded positively. So I have improved communication and reduced complaints. So I'm going to take that out because, again, the brain focuses on positive and not negative. And so if I say we're reducing something or getting rid of something, it's just going to focus on the word complaints, not reducing it. So I'm changing it to say to achieve 95% satisfaction. I'm not going to go through the whole SMART goal process. If you are not familiar with it, I do recommend that you look that up on the internet. There's a ton of videos, a ton of information, and I think all of it can be taken with a grain of salt because not every single goal is going to be hitting each one of the SMART portions, but I think as long as you are working on a goal structure, like how it's worded with that in mind, I think you're doing pretty well. Because of course, you know, they want you to have like a time frame. Well, this is all an annual goal, so it's December of next year. I don't feel like I need to write that in for each one of these. It's implied by the fact of where I have it. And some of these are just ongoing goals like this. I have the 2 pounds per month. That's more of the timely aspect of it. All right, so got distracted, tangents. Let's go back here to improving communication. So I need to break this down into projects. Alright, so these are going to be a little general and they're going to be iterative, meaning that once I get to the bottom, we're going to pop back up to the top again until we've actually reached this. But I can't be more specific than this because I don't know what I don't know right now. So my current projects are figure out what our current rating is, find what our weak areas are. If it's a department, if it's a person, if it's a type of communication that we're not doing well at, like what is it that we're not doing well, come up with a plan for improvement and then remeasure. So once we've remeasured, that's kind of the same as this, so we just kind of bump back up here to find the weak areas and just keep going until we hit the satisfaction rating that we're looking for. So hopefully that gives you an idea. We're taking these goals and we're breaking them down into projects. I am in the next video going to talk about breaking these projects down into tasks. A little bit of homework. If you haven't read it already, I highly recommend David Allen's Getting Things Done. You're not going to be able to read it before I get the next video out, I'm pretty sure, but it's definitely worthwhile reading it because there's some terminology that I'm going to use. If nothing else, see if you can find a website with a good summary. If I can find one, I'll link it for you below. But I'm going to talk about things like next actions, which is the next physical thing that you need to do in order to move the project forward. So I'm going to be using some terms like that. I'll try and define them for you, but if you're familiar with how his philosophy works, I think you'll be able to get a lot more out of it. So I'll link that book down below. So if you want to get a copy of it in paper, Kindle, I think they have an Audible version of it as well. So any of those would work out really well for you. So I'm going to end this video here. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And in the next video, we will break these projects down into tasks. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. That really helps my channel. And if you are not yet subscribed and you're looking forward to the next video, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. The previous video just to this one, I talked about gracefully merging digital and analog. So you'll actually see how, once I get the tasks, I'm going to start tracking those. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.